Hi, welcome to Unapologetic Badasses online series. My name is Valerie Fuentes. I'm your host, and today I am with Jo Tucker. She is the woman behind the account Alt Mother Tucker. And what actually drew me to your account is how you are trying to set an example for your daughters, and before anything, you're a mother. And that's what has driven you to start talking about this, because you do want to be an example for them. And I think that is so key for us to learn in this community, because sometimes we can get so wrapped up into our own hair loss that we don't think about the consequences for others, right? For me, it was like the opposite way. Like when I was losing my hair, I was so wrapped up into my own feelings that I wasn't thinking about my mom and what she was feeling while seeing me lose my hair, right? It was kind of like the other way around, but I would love to hear from you, everything. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
I know you started losing your hair, how long ago? Like 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2.5 years ago now. And I found I'd had my third daughter. She was almost a year. I had just gone back to work, and I found a patch, the usual, you find a patch about this sort of size, on the side of my head. And I just thought that I was run down, perhaps. I had had a cesarean with my last daughter, and so I thought that I'd been anemic before, and I had lost some hair during my second pregnancy, a couple of patches, and I just thought it was the same thing. I thought it was run down, but I noticed the patch in December, and then by the time I got a doctor's appointment to get my bloods checked, and it felt different this time. The shed that I was experiencing escalated really quickly, to the point where I had my bloods tested just before Christmas, and then when I went back in January, all my hair had gone. It was 2 weeks over Christmas. It just, everything fell out. It was coming out in the shower. I had shorter hair than this. I kind of had quite short hair, but I was trying not to wash. I used to wash it every day because it would kind of stick up everywhere, and I was trying not to wash it. I was trying to just kind of slap hairbands on just to kind of disguise and slow down what was happening. And I kept thinking, gosh, I can draw, I can deal with a couple of patches. I can draw a line as long as it just stops at this point. But it got to the stage where I could literally do this, and the whole handful would just come out, and I wouldn't even feel it leave my head. I would sob in the shower. It was just horrific, so devastating, because it was so fast. And I thought something was seriously wrong with me because of what was happening. But at the same time, it was Christmas. The children are, trying to enjoy it with the kids.
What's going on?
Yeah, and life goes on as well. I had a job I'd just gone back to, so I was just literally trying to just keep everything as normal as possible. But at the same time, I was like, oh my god, I'm going bald. Like, what's happening? So, yeah, it was a difficult time, definitely.
So, at what point did you get an actual diagnosis?
So I had the bloods done in December before Christmas, and then I went back to the doctor, and I think he was shocked, actually, because I actually went back in a bobble hat and I pulled it off and said, look, everything is now gone. And before Christmas, he had said to me, I think you have alopecia areata. And then after Christmas, obviously, he was like, and we'll refer you to a dermatologist. And that was he kind of sent me off the dermatologist route, and then that was my kind of contact with them, really. After that, I mean, the bloods came back. I was probably low on iron, but I wasn't classed as medically ill in any way. And then I became the dermatologist problem, and so I just kind of got pushed that way, and then that was it, really.
How was your experience with the dermatologist?
she had the most fantastic hair, which I know isn't her fault, but I was just the whole time, she had this lovely, glossy, like brown mane and very attractive. And, you know, you sit there in her swooshy ponytail and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so jealous of your hair right now.
Yeah.
She was pleasant and sympathetic, more so than my doctor was. My doctor was quite kind of like, oh, you know, it's not serious, off you go.
Right.
The dermatologist, she was, but at the same time, you know, I was kind of asking lots of questions and querying, perhaps is it hormone related, is it, you know, is there something else? And the dermatologist was very no, it's autoimmune, and just shut you down. There was no other, you know, exploration around the reasoning. She would just say autoimmune, and that's, you know, you just have to deal with that. And I saw her, I think maybe 2 or 3 times. They tried a couple of different things with me, which didn't work. And she did say, the 3rd time, she did say to me, when prompted, I had to say to her, is it unlikely that I'll get hair back? And because at this stage, my eyelashes and eyebrows and body hair had all fallen as well. And she said, yeah, it's really unlikely that you'll get any hair back. I prompted her to say it, so she did say it, and then I left devastated, but at the same time, I guess she was as nice as she could be. But that was the end of the road for me. I kind of dropped off the referral system because I chose not to go into any immunosuppressant medicines. I declined that route after steroids. I didn't get on well with steroids either, so I just kind of fell off the I don't know, the referral, and just got really into wigs, really.
Wow, that's okay. So the reason why I asked you is because I think that we have the same problem here in the States, and it's that dermatologists and some doctors, I feel like they're not educated or equipped on how to deliver the news, number one, and then guide you to a different resource, right? Like, I understand that a dermatologist's job is just to tell you this is what you have. But once you hear that, it's hard to take.
Yes, yeah.
And it would be nice to have some, you know, okay, so if you need any help, you can go see this and this and this person. And I feel like when we get a diagnosis, it's kind of like, you have alopecia. Okay, have a good day.
Yeah. They've ticked off the list.
Like, and what do I do now? So it's I think it's definitely, it's a problem everywhere. I don't think it's just here in the States. So I think that we should do, or we should create something where we, you know, educate dermatologists and doctors so they can provide more resources, even if it's just like a sheet of paper with, you know, these are the organizations that you can look for, or, you know, different things. I feel like we can do a better job to help our community. But anyway, side note. so then you decided, okay, I'm not going to take those medications. Was it because you were afraid of side effects, or what did you decide to do?
When I was given steroids, I was given a 6-week course of steroids, which I started taking, and the first week I was like, I remember being at my spin class, and I don't know if it was mind over matter, but I was like, yeah, like really on one, because I was like feeling like they were really having some positive effect. But after that, my face came up in really bad acne, really painful, like so painful, really quite obviously all around here, all around the sides of my face. And so then I kind of felt very much that I'd just gone bald and lost all my hair and my eyelashes and my eyebrows, and now I had a face full of acne that was not just the vanity side of things, it was so painful, and it made me feel so incredibly low. I got to the three week mark, and I emailed the dermatologist and said, look, I just don't think this is working for me. Like, there's not been an inkling of anything growing. I just feel horrendous. And so she gave me a very quick wean off plan, which I did, and the acne disappeared as soon as I'd stopped taking them. It literally just went. But it was just painful, the pain from the spots, because I've never experienced anything like it. It was horrible. So I just thought, gosh, do I want to be, do I want the hair that bad to go through this, and then the hair could fall out again. And after that, I just kind of thought, well, let's just try and look at the positives and move forward in another way. So yeah, from that point, I've tried to look at my health more, and that's more of an ongoing project, just to make myself feel better from the inside out. And then I would love to have hair back, but at the same time, it doesn't control my day in any way. I could quite happily wear wigs forever and have a bald head forever equally. So yeah, I think that making myself feel better inside out is just a positive thing to do anyway. So looking after yourself better.
Right.
Or trying. So
how did you make yourself feel better? Because I know, at the beginning stages of losing your hair, it's really rough.
Yeah.
So,
well, I needed I call it like a plaster. My first wig was my plaster, just to slap on, because I needed something, because of I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop doing the school run, and I needed to go to work, and all these things that were happening. I couldn't hide away in a bobble hat and in the office that I worked in was relatively casual, but I couldn't rock up with a woolly hat on. I would have been like, what's wrong with you today? And so I made an appointment to get my first wig, which was a local company. And I had such a wonderful experience there. The lady that I saw was just, she was almost more helpful than the dermatologist. It was just a lovely experience, and she educated me on what to look for with the cap and why things were different prices, and she was really patient. And because my hair was quite short, I'd always tried to grow my hair, and I thought, if I'm paying for hair, I'm going to buy hair that I want. And so I came away with a kind of a beachy wave bob, and I just felt amazing in it. It just made me feel so much, it just made me feel confident, and I thought, actually, I'm not ready to be bald yet. I'm not ready to handle that. And the wig really carried me through that really painful period. And then it just almost became like an addiction. It is kind of like actually, I could wear this today. And it just then starts evolving, and you start seeing your friends say to you, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous that you can swap your hair all the time. And I'm like, I know, right? Wow. So yeah, my love affair of alternative hair began then. And that was a real saving point, I think, really.
Yeah, I had to bring up a quote from Kelly Scott. She's also one of the speakers on the series. I actually interviewed her back in March, and she said on her interview that her hair loss allows her to have the best hair of her life. And it's so true. Like, I right now, get to play with us, and I wouldn't have this hair if I didn't have hair loss. So it almost enables you, or gives you that opportunity that others don't think they have, right? Because a lot of people, anybody can wear wigs, whether you have hair loss or not. So that's one thing. But a lot of people have some kind of stigma on it, and so they don't. But people wish they could wear wigs. A lot of celebrities are wearing wigs this day. We don't even know.
Yes, yeah. I felt there was a huge stigma when I'm going to get my first wig. I felt quite I feel embarrassed to say now that I felt ashamed, but I felt a sense of shame, because you associate them with illness or older people, but actually using the quote of Kelly, it absolutely is the best hair. My hair was never this good, and now it literally is out of a box, and it's just amazing hair every day. And who would not love that? I just it's just brilliant, really brilliant. So
saves you so much time. It has brought like 2 hours of my day. So it's what's wonderful. I love it. So as far as your daughters, because I know, so you lost your hair right after you had your third. So what about your other two little ones? How have you explained this process to them?
So at the time of it falling, because it happened really quickly, and it was a shock for all of us. I just through the whole, experience, I was reassuring them that I wasn't unwell. It was just something that had happened, but it didn't mean it would happen to them. It's something that happened to me. And I just kept talking to them about it, basically, just saying that, it's happened, but it's okay, I'm okay, please don't worry. And I get them involved with my wig wearing now. I mean, they help choose what I wear. They're really, really involved with oh mum, I think you should go for this one today, and I think you should wear this, and I like the pink. And then if any are lying around, I mean, the house is full of wigs, but if you leave it lying around for too long, then you will see the little hands will be like, oh mum, when you're finished with this one, can I have it, please? And it's just it's so lovely, because it's so completely normal in our house. And they don't see the fact that I haven't got hair, because I mean, I've come in from work with hair today, but obviously, usually at home, I don't have any hair on. In the mornings, I kind of put it on to go out usually, but I'm kicking around the house with my head, or I'm sunbathing with, my head out. And they don't even see it. They've taken it all in their stride, to the point that even their friends think it's cool. My eldest daughter is 11, and she had a friend round one day, and it wasn't even prompted. I was kind of upstairs doing something. I don't think they knew I was upstairs, and their bedroom door was open a little bit, and I could hear them talking. And her friend was like, "It's so cool that your mum changes her hair. I love it." And it just made me go, "Oh," do you know what I mean? It was really lovely to just have the acceptance. It's just normality. When we've been on holiday and we've seen a lady without any hair, and it could have been for a multitude of reasons. I just always assume it's alopecia, but obviously it could not be. They're kind of like, oh, they're not pointing and saying, "Oh mum, why has she not got hair?" They're like, "Mum, she's like you, she hasn't got any hair either, she's got a hat on today." Or it's just conversation. And I'm really proud of how well they've just taken it on board. And if I ever were to say to them, because we have the difficult conversation about, obviously I've got no leg hair, and my eldest now is getting to the stage where she's noticing, and so she's like, "Do I need to shave my leg hair?" And I'm kind of like, you don't have to do that, you can just, and I have to try and explain that mum's the kind of slightly stranger one, because I just am really smooth, but that doesn't, hair is perfectly normal as well as me being normal. And she always says to me, "Oh mum, you're perfectly normal, of course it's normal the way you are." And it's just so sweet, really. We're having the reverse conversation where it's like, "No, it's okay to leave it, it's fine, you don't have to be like mum." But they just take it all in their stride, really, which is just it's just one less thing to worry about. And even my youngest daughter will never know me with hair, so because it fell when she was small. She just, again, she's got a Barbie whose hair comes off as well to match mummy, and she's like, "Oh, she's got a head like mummy." But she's never not recognized me of all of my hairstyles. Obviously they see your face, but she's never once given me a second look or anything. And again, she's another one for trying wigs on, so she would quite happily just pop one on and wander off with it, and be like, "Oh, I've got hair like mummy today." So it's perfectly normal in our house, which is just wonderful.
I love that. So what prompted you to start your account on Instagram?
So one of the ways that I wanted to deal with the hair loss, because it happened so quickly, I wanted to be very honest from the start with everybody. I didn't want to feel that by hiding it, people would then talk about me behind my back. I wanted to be very open and say, look, this happened. I've chosen to do this. And that's just the way it is. And if you want to ask me, then you can. But I'm not unwell. It's alopecia, and I'll educate you on what alopecia is if you need to know. And I remember I was sat in bed. I had a personal Instagram account anyway that I used, and I was sat in bed one night, and I was trying to think of a name, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I could just document, you know, because I think I'd got my first wig that day, but I was just thinking I could document, you know, what's happening. Somebody might find it interesting. And I came up with Bald Mother Tucker because I was all of those things. And yeah, and it was right at the very start. So in some ways it was quite nice because I kind of I had the very early pictures of it falling, which again, some people find quite useful. And I was kind of really documenting when I felt that I found some stubble, you know, I was really overjoyed at that point because it was still very early days and I didn't realise how unlikely it would be, because I was thinking that it would just come back. And so I'm glad that I did start it then, and you know, that at that point. And as time's gone by, I've met so many other, I mean, the hair loss community is wonderful. I've met so many wonderful people that have been so helpful. And even my husband would say, you know, I think that the Instagram side of things has really been such a support to you in, for, you know, just dealing with it. And because it's like a grieving process, grieving for the loss of your hair. And yeah, meeting others and speaking to others who have suffered in a similar way, and have, you know, shine a positive light on it as well. It's just really lovely to see. And it's helped me no end, definitely. Really has.
Yeah, the support of this community is amazing. And I think that for me, it has also been life-changing to have that support. And it's so cool to see when, you know, somebody gets new hair and everybody's like, oh my God, it looks great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And, you know, we get to celebrate each other and embrace each other. I really, really love that. So what are your favorite accounts? Any favorites?
Oh gosh. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. That sounds horrendous, doesn't it? But there's lots of people that I love following, but I can't ever remember their names. I have to like write them down, and then I'm like, oh yes, this one and this one. There's just there's some really awesome women that I've met, and there are some that, you know, you almost move in the same kind of hair circles, which sounds ridiculous, but you just, you know, like Kelly's one of them. You just kind of, they pop back up, and then you're like, oh, hi again, and it's just it's like a bond that you have that is hard to explain to a hairier person, isn't it? It's just something that they just kind of totally get. And yeah, such a wonderful bunch. I did the Alopecia UK have these kind of I think they call it like a roadshow, but it's like a kind of event day. And I met a couple of friends that I'd kind of only met online before, and then I met them in the flesh there last year, which was just wonderful. It was just really lovely to see everybody. And you know, it progresses from, you kind of speak via Instagram, but then you move to like phone calls and texts, and it's just and then seeing each other in the person, it's just really lovely, really nice.
Wow. So are you currently meeting others through Alopecia UK?
It was through the event that I did, I physically met them, but I'd kind of met them through Instagram as well. But I mean, Alopecia UK do some really great events, which are in the UK for, you know, groups of you to just meet each other, which is just really supportive. They're a really helpful charity. And then they've got their Facebook groups and stuff as well, which was really good for, if you just, I mean, in the early days, I had like questions about things like, oh, I was due to travel with work, and I was worried that my wig would set alarms off at the airport and stuff like that, and I wouldn't. Now I'd feel comfortable whipping it off. I'd almost take entertainment from doing it, but at the time I would have been horrified, and I wouldn't have done that. And so, you know, you can ask for advice in these forums that are super helpful, definitely.
Absolutely. So for if you had the opportunity to go back in time, because I know it happened super fast for you. I've been going through, living with alopecia for like over a decade. But if you look back at the last 2.5 years, would you do anything differently?
I think that I would, I possibly not, because I would say that I wouldn't bother going down the medical investigation route. But then at the same time, it's one of those that I think if you don't try, then you'd always wonder. Mm-hmm. So maybe if I hadn't have gone through the kind of extra blood tests, because I've had several blood tests, over the first year for me, I did dwell a lot more on the hair loss. I felt a bit more sorry for myself and a bit kind of angry about why it had happened. But the second year and to date, I kind of let go of that a lot more, and just really embrace the advantages. And there are so many advantages. There really are. There are lots of positives that you can really take from it. And so, I don't think I would have changed anything, really. I think perhaps I would have just embraced. I think possibly shave. I had when my hair fell, it did completely fall really quickly, but I was left with this kind of, like, I call it the crazy old man look. It was like these wiry random bits. I think maybe I would have shaved my head quicker just to take the control back, because the feeling of it falling was just really not very nice. That was probably the worst part of everything. And so perhaps I would have taken that control to, have the buzz cut for however long it would have lasted. Perhaps, but otherwise no. I mean, I had my eyebrows microbladed, and I had them done the summer before my hair fell out, because I wanted bushier brows anyway, and so I'd kind of timed that perfectly, because now they're exactly where they're supposed to be now that I've had them done again. And that was a wonderful thing to have. So now when I wash my face, at least the eyebrows are still there, and then you have that kind of, you recognize yourself more. So, but yeah, no, otherwise, I don't think I would have changed anything. I've just been bimbling along, and I'm quite content, really.
So speaking of the advantages, what has been the best thing that alopecia has brought into your life?
The best thing has to be the wonderful people. I mean, the like I said, the community is awesome and really wonderful and really lovely. Also the wonderful hair. The upside of the I was always really fickle, completely fickle with hairstyles, and just I find it really enjoyable to be able to swap. I'll do the school run in one style, I'll pick up in another style. I get hot if I'm doing the housework, if I'm sunbathing, I just take my hair off. I don't wear hair to the gym when I'm exercising, and that's just such a nice feeling to not have that on your head. So it's not having to worry about doing your hair. There are lots of things. There are lots of things that just are. I really love being able to talk about the fact that women can be beautiful. They don't need hair to be beautiful, and just, I don't know, I get messages from other women saying that it's inspiring, and it's just so lovely to be able to feel that I'm helping somebody else as well, but just by discussing it and making somebody else feel good about themselves as well. That's another thing that's been really nice.
So speaking of hair, do you wear synthetic, human, both? What's your favorite?
I wear both. With having 3 children and working, synthetic is easier for me most of the time, because I call them polyester trousers. You just wash and shake and then they're done. They go back to the same waves. And then I have like Saturday night hair, which is like the longer, more kind of vampier looks. And so then I'll do human hair. For human hair, if I have time on the weekend, then I'll style it and it will sit on the head, and then it's like good to go at any point during the week, which is a real advantage as well. But yes, I'm kind of easygoing. I like wearing both. I call myself a greedy hair whore because I'm so greedy. I like all the hair. So I just I like being able to swap it and change it, and either is fine for me.
So what's your setup at home? Because I've always wondered when I see you guys with all this hair, what do you have? Do you have a shelf? Do you have like just one head? Like you keep one out? Like how does that work?
So I've got three heads, and it's a bit like when people ask what your favorite is, it's a bit like choosing a favorite child. Like I feel like I can't say I don't have a favorite, but the newest or the most expensive will usually get to perch on the stand for longer. And then my wardrobe, we've got kind of like sliding door fitted wardrobes, and I've actually had to move my trousers now out of that section because the wigs I've literally been doubling them up and then stacking them tall, and now they've taken over to the point where I can't fit trousers on top, so I've had to like move the clothes over. So I try and keep them under wraps, just because my husband is like, will you please put your hair away, because it just hangs around but you'll find it on the hoover, on the banister, like you take it off, you get in, you hang it somewhere,
like sweaters, just
it just goes there. So it's I need like a room, I need a wig room or something. That's like goals for the future.
That's the dream. The women have a room for their shoes. We get to have a room for our wigs.
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. So we're getting close to our time together. Is there any, last word of advice that you want to share with the audience?
I just think it's really important to remember that however you feel in the early days, it can feel devastating and horrific. It really does get easier. The horrific time, it really does pass, and it's different for everybody. And I just personally found that talking to people, talking about it and around it, people are, don't be afraid what people will say. They're so accepting. It's not their business to be commenting on how you deal with it. But I've had nothing but support from strangers and friends and family, and it's enabled me to kind of deal with it as well as I have, and to feel okay about it, really. I feel 1,000 times better than I did in those early days, which were dark, but it really does get better.
Has there anything specific that has helped you feel better? Like, any techniques, anything you're using, I don't know, like self-talk, what helps you feel better when you're down?
The sharing and talking to friends and family mostly, and then moving the outer circle to my extended wig sisters. It really has been that community, and being as open about it as possible. If people want to know more about alopecia, I'll quite happily fill them in on what happened or why it happened. But just being a real open book on it, and also just having some, putting a smile on your face and thinking, yes, I can do it. I put your wig on and I feel amazing, and off you go. And the first time of wearing the wig, I was so paranoid that somebody at the school gate would be like, oh, she's wearing a wig, what's going on with, and nobody cared, nobody batted an eyelid. I had one person ask if I'd had extensions, and that was the limit of the conversation. Just go for it, just embrace it, really. Right. Embrace it.
And I love that you said that, because I think it's huge. However you talk about it is how people are going to perceive it. So if you make you feel about it and you share your story from a victim perspective, people are going to be feeling sorry for you. if you share about it, just, being open and making it something simple, just like talking about having diabetes or, any other condition, people are going to take it the same way. So,
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
yes,
no,
so my
that's
advice to everyone is, just lead the conversation. The conversation is going to go whichever way you want it to go. It's really up to you.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but no, that's absolutely spot on.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joe, so much. I so
Thank
appreciate
you.
your leadership, creating that account, because I think that, not everybody's ready to do that. So I really appreciate the women that take the lead and share their journey, because it helps so many, so many. And the thing is, you get to hear from some people, you have no idea the hundreds and thousands of people that are watching you and learning from you, and you don't even know. So, thanks for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Lovely to speak to you.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And the last interview is coming right after this one. So thank you for joining us for this last 8 days. It has been amazing. And I hope you enjoy the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.